suddenly be ambushed by 5 black holes.
It's always the way, isn't it? We've been in deep space for 3 million years and there hasn't been one. Then all of a sudden, 5 of them turn up at once.
No, I don't want to talk about that one because I'm not in it that much.
The genesis of that, the whole ice thing, was a meeting with Rob and Doug and me and Peter Wragg, the visual effects designer.
Rather than us writing stuff and them trying to deliver what we had written, we wanted to reverse it a bit. And so we met with the vis effects guys and said, what can you do that would look really good? And that's where the snow thing came from Marooned. He said, we do good snow.
I think Peter made the mistake of saying, snow is good, we can do snow.
And I said, obviously it's not snow, what's it actually made of? And he said, soap flakes.
It looked very realistic. Unfortunately, everyone slid around for the next couple of days because we had a nice soapy floor.
Of course, I've got to fall out of the spaceship, land on me back, then start trying to dig my way through, and then just get completely blown into the side of this boulder. And they pulled me on this rope really hard, and you bang, it really hit me back as well. And then you kind of open your mouth, and all these soap. I tasted soap for weeks, man.
I mean, Craig suffered a lot that day as well because he had to climb out of a door and then do a comedy falling down because the wind's so strong fall. He didn't have to do any acting at all. He climbed out the door and the wind just took his feet away. It was very... I mean, they create like 70 or 80 mile an hour winds, those machines, and it's very hard to stand up near them. So.
Credit to Craig, we put him through hell on that and he just kept going, you know. He never gave up, never complained, always got on with it.
That was so bloody painful. I mean, it was more painful for Robert Llewellyn. He had his eyes, his mask was on, but his eyes were glued open.
They had to paint so much makeup to cover the join from the rubber mask to my eyes that they just kind of kept layering it on, which was, you know, if you're sitting like that, it's just having your eyeballs painted. It's not that terrible. Not your eyelids, not your eyeballs. Luckily, they didn't paint my eyeballs. That would have been very bad. But what happened then when I opened my eyes, my eyelids got basically stuck. So I was like that. So I couldn't really blink, you know, which is, you know, not pleasant, but it's not horrible until someone actually blows soap flakes into your face from a huge fan. This is the engine of a Volkswagen with a propeller on it, with a kind of guard round. That's a wind machine. So they start out this thing, and the wind starts. They go, all right, everybody ready? Then they pour soap flakes into the wind, and it creates an instant blizzard. Brilliant effect. But there's me going, with foaming eyes.
A pint of lager just didn't taste the same that night. It was just like, you know, you were blowing bubbles.
Still snowing, is it?
I mean, you're head to toe in leather. You got a fire there. You got all the lights. You're sweating your hairies off, and you're supposed to be.
I decided to shoot the entire show handheld. So apart from some of the ice stuff, everything in the studio, everything in Starbug was shot handheld. And to my knowledge, that was the first sitcom that had ever been shot handheld.
That's it, there's nothing else.
Just a pot noodle. Oh, and I found a tin of dog food in the tool cupboard.
Well, it's obvious what gets eaten last then, isn't it? Can't stand pot noodles.
And it's a very powerful story. It's a very good story that people could identify with because it was to do with, you know, you can understand being stuck in the middle of nowhere and you haven't got anything to eat, you're going to die. You know, it's a great thrust to get that story going. And so all that claustrophobia really helped it, and it really made it look great.
I thought that was some of our best work in the early ones. Our finest hour, as it were.
I think it's my second favourite, probably, of all Red Dwarfs, you know. And just to do to read the dialogue for the first time was just one of those moments as an actor. You just sort of, you know, great. I can't wait to to do this.
I used to play golf. I hate people who abuse the facilities. Hope you rake the sand back nicely before you... That would be a hell of a lie to get into, wouldn't it? Competition the next day, your ball lands in Lister's buttock crevice. You need more than a niblick to get that one out.
I was gonna say I've got a big bump.
Big? It's like 2 badly parked Volkswagens.
I think Marooned is my favourite episode in terms of, you know, the way that those guys played it and the way that we experimented with a style of shooting.
I loved Marooned. I just think if ever we did a Red Dwarf stage play, I'd love to do Marooned as it, because it's just like, basically it's a two-hander, you know, and great dialogue, great stories.
It was a long episode for those two, you know, to be funny, sitting around a fire in a studio with an audience, with a fire going, you know, 5 handheld cameras, cameramen leaning over each other.
My favourite shot from the whole sequence inside Starbug was Craig had to eat a bit of dog food, and he got the spoon the spoon out with the dog food on the end of it, and he was going to put it into his mouth. And as he did it, the camera moved in to Craig to the point where actually the end of the camera, I think, hit the end of his hand as he put it into his mouth. As a result, you get this great wide-angle, grotesque shot of somebody. You're following a dog food into his mouth.
I'm sure the dog food will be lovely.
I mean, this isn't dog food. This is a piece of prime fillet steak in blue cheese sauce. It's been charcoal broiled in garlic butter and is going to taste delicious. 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 Well, now I can see why dogs lick their testicles. Take away the taste of the food.
That wasn't really dog food. I've said it was and all that kind of stuff, but it wasn't really dog food. I actually don't know what it was. But it was horrible anyway. They had a tuna stuff all mixed on, and then he put like marrowbone jelly on the top, which was like probably scraped from the side of a tin of Spam or something like that, you know.